Real quick before we roll this footage, Representative Dan Goldman just sat across from DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and got her to confirm on the record that asylum is a lawful pathway to immigrate to this country and that people with pending asylum applications are legally present in the United States. And then he asked her the most logical follow-up question available. If those people are here legally, then deporting them violates the law. And what Noem did instead of answering that question is something you need to see for yourself. Watch this.
Goldman for 5 minutes.
Secretary Noem, let's talk about the law. Do you agree that asylum is a lawful pathway to immigrate to this country? Yes or no?
There's an asylum program, yes, in place.
All right. So immigrants then with ongoing asylum applications are legally in this country, correct?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Your question was?
Immigrants with ongoing asylum applications are legally in this country.
There are individuals in this country that have applications that...
And they are legally here because it's a lawful pathway, right?
It's a lawful pathway.
Okay, so if your department then deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law, correct?
Joe Biden left us with...
I'm not asking about Joe Biden. I'm asking you a specific question. If your department deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law. Is that correct?
It was greatly violated when they allowed...
I'm asking you.
...people to come
I'm
in and
asking
granted asylum applications.
Why are you filibustering? Why can't you answer the question? It's a simple question.
Your president...
If your department
and your secretary
deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law. Isn't that correct?
The asylum program was broken under the last...
Mr. Chairman, I will reclaim my time. She's not answering the question. But the obvious answer is that, yes, if you follow a lawful pathway, asylum is a lawful pathway. If you have an open asylum case, you are here lawfully. But the problem that we are seeing around the country is that you are not following the law. Don't tell us to change the law. If you don't like the asylum system, you change the asylum law. Bring it to us. We'll work with you. I think it needs to be changed. But you can't just decide that you're not going to follow the law, and asylum is a law, and deport people who have ongoing applications. Unfortunately, that is exactly what's happening. It's happening across the street from my office right in New York City. Numerous, thousands of people who have come to court appearances, have left them with open asylum applications, have been arrested. And then they've been shipped off and many deported. In September, one applicant was ripped away from his wife and small children after such a court appearance. And then this happened to his wife. Please play the video. No, it's not. It's not this one. All right, it's not this video. Here it is.
I'm yours. Come on, man.
Now, after this incident, your department issued a statement that said the officer's conduct in this video is unacceptable and beneath the men and women of ICE. Our ICE law enforcement are held to the highest professional standards, and this officer is being relieved of current duties as we conduct a full investigation. 3 days later, you reinstated that officer and you put him back on duty. I sent you a letter and asked you what investigation was done and why was he reinstated. You did not answer that letter. So I'm going to give you an opportunity right here to explain to me that if that officer's conduct was, quote, beneath the men and women of ICE, unquote, why did you reinstate him?
Sir, that investigation was completed. I can give you that investigation and the information that you would like. This is.
Well, I wrote you 2 months ago. Why haven't you given it to me yet?
I'm actually surprised that you haven't gotten it. I'm going to ask my staff about that.
Well, you shouldn't be surprised because generally speaking, you do not respond to us.
Thousands of your letters.
Now, the other problem that we are seeing all over the country is that your officers are wearing masks, are dressed in plain clothes, often going around without identification.
All of our officers are identified.
I'm not asking a question. I introduced the No Secret Police Act to stop this. And we now have 113 co-sponsors so that they will not be masked and that they will identify themselves. Now, you say all of them are identifying themselves. That is not the case, because last month in New York City again, the NYPD officers were injured by your masked plainclothes ICE officers after they were called from 911 as residents witnessed your officers pulling individuals out of their vehicles and chasing them down the street. I also asked you what happened there. How were the NYPD officers injured by your officers? And you didn't respond. What's the answer?
Sir, our individual officers are identified.
Time has expired.
I yield back.
I recognize gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gonzalez, 5 minutes.
Welcome back to Winner's Breakdowns. I'm Winner. And if that clip made you feel the weight of what is actually happening to real families and real communities across this country, then you're feeling exactly what you should be feeling. Goldman did not come to that hearing with partisan talking points. He came with a legal argument, with documented cases, with a video, with unanswered letters, and with the specific names of real people whose lives have been torn apart by an administration that decided the law applies when it is convenient and does not apply when it is not. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now. Smash that like button, drop a comment, because I read every single one. Let's get into it. Because the legal foundation Goldman laid in those first 2 minutes is the most important part of the entire exchange, and I want to make sure it lands clearly. He got Noem to confirm 2 things. First, that asylum is a lawful pathway. Second, that people with pending asylum applications are legally in this country. Those 2 confirmations are not opinions. They are statements of existing American law that the Secretary of Homeland Security herself acknowledged under questioning in a congressional hearing. And the logical conclusion follows directly and inescapably. If asylum is a lawful pathway, and if people with pending applications are here lawfully, then deporting those people while their cases are open is a violation of the law. That is not a political argument. That is basic legal reasoning applied to facts the Secretary herself confirmed. And no one would not say it. She kept pivoting to the Biden administration. She talked about the broken asylum system. She said things that were not responsive to the question being asked. Goldman called it filibustering, and he was right. When a cabinet secretary cannot answer a direct yes or no legal question that follows logically from positions she has just confirmed, the only explanation is that the honest answer is politically unacceptable. The honest answer is yes, deporting people with open asylum cases violates the law. And Noem could not say it, because saying it would be an admission that her department is breaking the law every single day. Goldman made the right point about the remedy available to this administration if it does not like the asylum system. Change the law. Bring legislation to Congress. Work through the democratic process to reform the statutes you believe are inadequate. That is how a government that respects the rule of law operates. What you do not get to do is simply decide that the law does not apply to you and act accordingly while citing the existence of laws you disagree with as justification for breaking them. That is not executive discretion. That is lawlessness. And the human cost Goldman documented is not abstract. He described thousands of people who showed up to scheduled asylum court appearances, acting in good faith in compliance with the legal process, and were arrested and deported. People who were following the law exactly as it requires. Showing up, attending their hearings, doing what the system asked them to do, and they were arrested for it. A man was ripped away from his wife and small children after a court appearance. That family did nothing wrong. They followed every requirement the asylum system placed on them. And this administration rewarded that compliance with enforcement action that Goldman argued and Noem could not deny is unlawful. The ICE officer reinstatement story is the piece of this exchange that deserves the most sustained outrage. DHS issued a public statement calling an officer's conduct unacceptable and beneath the standards of the agency. 3 days later, that officer was back on duty. Goldman sent a letter 2 months ago asking what investigation was conducted and why the reinstatement happened. He got no answer. Noem said she was surprised and would check with staff. 2 months of no response to a congressional oversight letter about an officer whose own department called his conduct unacceptable is not a bureaucratic oversight. It is a pattern of contempt for congressional accountability that this administration has demonstrated consistently and repeatedly. And the masked plainclothes officers issue. NYPD officers were injured in an encounter with masked plainclothes ICE agents. Goldman asked what happened. No answer. His No Secret Police Act has 113 co-sponsors because the American people deserve to know when federal law enforcement is operating in their communities, and agents should identify themselves. Noem claimed all officers identify themselves. The NYPD incident says otherwise. Democrats need to keep doing exactly what Goldman did. Keep getting cabinet secretaries to confirm the legal framework on record and then holding them to it. Keep documenting the human cost. Keep sending the letters and demanding the answers. The American people deserve a government that follows its own laws. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like, share this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. This has been Winner's Breakdowns. Stay informed and hold power accountable.